The political influence of the French Protestants was much bigger than replacing a king with a ruler under the law, such as the president or a prime minister. One force that came out of that movement was a Bible known as the Geneva Bible. When Queen Mary began to persecute reformers in England, she killed about 300 of them, and many devout Christians fled to Geneva, which was a republic shaped by the teachings of John Calvin, Theodore Beza, and John Knox. They completed the translation of the Bible that William Tyndale had begun earlier and produced the first complete printed Bible with marginal notes in English that was affordable. It came to be known as the Geneva Bible. This was the Bible that was read by English writers such as Shakespeare, Milton, Bunyan, English revolutionaries such as Oliver Cromwell, and the American revolutionaries. The Geneva Bible is the reason the American Revolution happened. Because Geneva was a republic, many of the notes condemned kings as tyrants and highlighted the fact that kingship was not God's desire. Take, for example, Moses. Moses was adopted by Pharaoh's daughter and grew up in the palace. After he had liberated the Jews, it would have been natural for him to want to become the king of the Hebrews. But he knew that God was a living God and he was their king. Moses was only serving God and the people. When Joshua was inaugurated as the leader after Moses, he was commanded, "Be strong and very courageous. Be careful to obey all the law my servant Moses has given you. Do not turn from it to the right or to the left, that you may be successful wherever you go. Do not let this book of the law depart from your mouth. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be prosperous and successful." After Samuel made Saul the first king of the Jews, he reminded the elders that when some enemies were coming against them, they said, "No, we want a king to rule over us, even though the Lord your God was your king. Now here is the king you have chosen, the one you asked for. See, the Lord has set a king over you. If you fear the Lord and serve and obey him and do not rebel against his commands, and if both you and the king who reigns over you follow the Lord your God, good. But if you do not obey the Lord, and if you rebel against his commands, his hand will be against you, as it was against your fathers." One of the very important passages that both Beza and Mornay expounded was 2 Kings chapter 11. The high priest Jehoiada inaugurated a young boy, Joash, as the new king of Judah. During that inauguration, there were two distinct covenants. The first was between God on the one side and the king and the people on the other side. They were vowing to be the people of God, a nation under God. The second covenant was between the king and the people. The people will be loyal subjects to the king. They will obey the king. The implication of two distinct covenants was that the king is bound by God's law. He will not be above God's law. If he breaks the law of God, if he becomes immoral or wicked, people will have a right to reject him as their king. This twofold covenant from the Bible is represented in the inauguration of the American president, when he puts his hand on the Bible, seeks God's help in upholding the law of the land. If he disobeys the law, then the people have the right to impeach him through their representatives in the Congress. When President Obama puts his hand on the Bible and swears to uphold the Constitution of America, will he be following Machiavelli's strategy of using religious symbol to manipulate the masses? Or will he be standing in the tradition of Moses and Joshua and Samuel and the Huguenots and George Washington, of affirming that America is a political system where the ruler is really under the law, God's law, and the law of the land?